everyone! If you think Dutch people are just good at saving money, trust me, you haven't seen anything yet. I've been living in the Netherlands for several years now, and one thing I've learned is that Dutch frugality isn't just a habit, it's practically a national sport. And sometimes it gets so extreme that when I first moved here, I honestly thought people were joking. When I met my husband's family, who is Dutch, I kept thinking, there's no way grown adults actually do this just to save a few cents. Well, turns out they absolutely do. And not just a few people, pretty much the entire country. Today I'm sharing some of the funniest and most surprising examples of Dutch frugality that I've witnessed myself. Some of them still make me laugh, while others, I have to admit, I've started doing too. So let's get into it. If you've seen my previous video about weird Dutch kitchen gadgets, you probably remember the Flessenlicker, that funny little tool designed to scrape every last bit out of a bottle. But honestly, that's just the beginning. One day I walked into the kitchen and saw my husband spending what felt like 5 full minutes trying to get the last bits of vanilla yogurt out of the container. At first I assumed it was a brand new container. Nope, it was empty, or at least that's what I thought. He calmly grabbed a pair of scissors, cut the container open, and carefully scraped every single bit into his bowl. I looked at him and said, "Seriously, there's basically nothing left?" Without missing a bit, he replied, "What do you mean? That's at least 2 more spoonfuls." And the annoying part, he was right. There actually were 2 more spoonfuls in there. And after that I started noticing the same thing everywhere. Mayonnaise bottles, toothpaste tubes, hand cream, shampoo, sauces. Nothing gets thrown away until every last drop has officially surrendered. At first I thought it was hilarious, but now I've caught myself cutting open toothpaste tubes too. I wish I could say I'm kidding. Another thing that completely confused me when I moved here was how dark Dutch houses are at night. Seriously, you'll walk through a neighborhood after sunset and it almost looks like nobody's home. Then you step inside. The hallway is dark, the kitchen is dark, the upstairs is dark. The only light on is one little lamp next to the couch. And somehow the whole family is hanging out right there. One evening I casually turned on the lights in a few rooms while walking around the house. A couple of minutes later my husband quietly followed behind me, turning every single one of them back off. Not because electricity is expensive and not because I was in trouble, just because why would you light up a room nobody's using? Fair enough, these days I've become that person too. Now I'm the one walking around the house turning lights off. I never thought this would happen to me. This one completely caught me off guard. I was invited to celebrate somebody's birthday at a restaurant. Back home, the birthday person usually invites everyone. Everyone has a great time, and at the end of the evening, the host picks up the bill. Pretty standard, right? Not in the Netherlands. The server simply brought over the payment terminal and everyone paid for their own meal. Nobody looked surprised, nobody even talked about it. It was just normal. Later I discovered this happens all the time. The Dutch use a payment app, Tiki, almost daily. Someone buys coffee, someone pays for parking, someone grabs groceries. A few seconds later, you get a payment request. Not for few euros, not even for 3. Sometimes it's literally €2.47. No rounding up. No, don't worry about it. At first I thought it was the funniest thing ever. But honestly, there's something kind of nice about it. Nobody feels like they're constantly owing someone money. Everybody is clear, everything is fair. Even if that means sending your best friend a payment request for the price of half a sandwich. One of the biggest cultural surprises for me was realizing that in the Netherlands, throwing away something that's still perfectly usable is almost frowned upon. Let's say you have an old chair. Can you still sit on it? Great, someone will buy it. If nobody buys it, you'll give it to a neighbor. If the neighbor doesn't want it, you'll put it outside. And if that doesn't work, it'll end up at a second-hand store. The funny part is people actually go looking for these things. The first time I saw a perfectly good bookshelf sitting outside somebody's house, I thought, oh, they must be waiting for garbage collection. An hour later, it was gone. Someone had already picked it up. Later, I learned that's completely normal, especially in Amsterdam. People drive around specifically looking for free furniture, home decorations, bicycles, you name it. And here's what surprised me even more. It's not just students trying to save money. I've met people with great jobs and beautiful homes who proudly buy secondhand. Why? Because if something still works perfectly, why pay full price? Honestly, it's hard to argue with that logic. This was probably one of the biggest culture shocks. Where I grew up, lunch usually meant a proper hot meal. Maybe soup, maybe pasta, maybe potatoes with meat, something that actually felt like lunch. Then I moved to the Netherlands and suddenly lunch looked like this. Bread, cheese, maybe a slice of ham, done. Day after day, week after week, some people have basically the same lunch for years. The first time I suggested cooking something hot in the middle of the day, I got a look that basically said, why would anyone make life that complicated? To be fair, it is incredibly convenient. You don't need to cook, you don't need to clean up much, and you are back to work in 10 minutes. These days, our house has reached a peaceful compromise. My husband is perfectly happy eating his sandwiches almost every day. Meanwhile, every now and then, I still make myself a bowl of soup or a warm meal because, some habits are just too deeply rooted. And honestly, sometimes my husband ends up stealing a few bites from my plate anyway. So maybe I'm slowly converting him. There's one Dutch habit that I have to admit. I've completely fallen in love with. The Dutch absolutely love free stuff. And I don't mean in a cheap way, I mean in a smart way. If a museum has a free admission day, people know about it. If the local garden center is giving away free flower seeds, there's already a line. If a grocery store is offering free samples, people aren't awkward about it. They'll happily take one, maybe even two, because why not? One thing you'll see everywhere in the Netherlands is the word gratis. It simply means free. And after living here for a while, I've noticed something funny. Whenever I see that word now, my mood instantly improves. Apparently, Dutch frugality is contagious. Here's something that took me a long time to understand. Dutch people aren't just trying to save money. They are trying to save time, effort, and unnecessary hassle too. Once I realized that, a lot of things suddenly made sense for me. Why spend an hour cooking lunch when a sandwich does the job? Why replace something that's still working perfectly? Why drive across town if you can combine 3 errands into one trip? Why buy something new if a used one works just as well? Life here is built around one simple question. Is there an easier way to do this? And honestly, that's not a bad philosophy. It doesn't mean people don't enjoy life. quite the opposite. It means they don't waste their energy on things they don't think really matter. And more I live here, the more I understand why. When I first moved to the Netherlands, I thought a lot of these habits were, let's just say, a little extreme. I laughed. I questioned everything. Sometimes I even thought, there's no way I'm ever going to do that. Fast forward a few years, and somehow I've become the person cutting open toothpaste tubes. I turn off lights without even thinking about it. I get excited when I see something marked gratis. So yes, I guess Dutch frugality is rubbing off on me. But here's the thing. Living here has taught me that Dutch frugality isn't really about being stingy. It's about respecting your money, respecting your time, respecting the things you already own. And maybe that's one of the reasons so many people here seem financially relaxed. They don't feel the need to constantly buy more. They simply make better use of what they already have. Now I'd love to hear from you. Which of these surprised you the most? Do people in your country have any unusual money savings habits that foreigners would find strange? Tell me in the comments. I read as many of them as I can, and I always love hearing your stories. If you enjoyed my video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. So thank you for watching and see you soon!